guys, and welcome to Odds on Premier League. The title race is not stopping. We have more games in the middle of the week. We have also Tottenham, Chelsea, so we are going to analyze every single game with Tom Williams. But I also want to know your opinion. So let me know what you think in the comment section, and you will have the chance to win a £10 free bet with Novibet. Besides, if you enjoyed the video, do not forget to click on the like button, subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to get all the notifications. And now let's go on with the show. We have the 22nd match day of the Premier League in the middle of the week, starting on Tuesday, and we are going to analyze every single game with Tom Williams. Hello, Tom.
Hi, Eduardo.
And the battle for the title still goes on, with Man City winning every single game. But the first game we have is a relegation battle game, although both teams really need the victory because they look like championship teams every week. Actually, more and more, we have Sheffield United looking better than ever, I would say, this season. They only lost 1-0 against Man City after beating, remember, Man United. And they faced West Brom, who were unable to beat Fulham at home. Even if they took the lead, they were leading 2-1. Really bad numbers for Sam Allardyce, only one victory, and they still concede too many goals, 50 goals conceded this season in the Premier League. So if we look at the momentum of both teams, probably Sheffield United, Tom, they are better, although the odds are quite low to back the home team here.
Yeah, the odds are very low on a Sheffield United win. I can understand that because Sheffield United go into this with better form. As you say, that fantastic win at Old Trafford. They came close to picking up a point against Manchester City at the Etihad, albeit after Pep Guardiola had shuffled his pack a little bit. They also beat Newcastle at home recently, so clear signs of improvement from Sheffield United. And as we've been saying for a while, this has been coming. Although they've lost an awful lot of games this season, they tend not to lose too heavily. They're still a difficult team to beat. They were just getting beaten too often. So, it could be the case that they have turned a corner, or that they're in the process of turning a corner. So I can understand why Sheffield United, look at a decent bet for this game. As you say, West Brom, we're still waiting for the Sam Allardyce effect to take hold. Only 5 points from a possible 24 since he came in and took over from Slaven Bilic. And letting in too many goals. Saw that at the weekend, 2-2 draw at home to Fulham. The fact that the odds favour Sheffield United so heavily, though, make me more inclined to want to back West Brom, because that's where the value is. So, in terms of potential bets, maybe something like, West Brom Asian handicap 0. You can get odds of around 3.18 on Oddspedia on that. So we get our money back if it's a draw, and the bet pays out if West Brom win. I can see Sheffield United winning this, but I just think that given the odds on them are so low, the value here is probably to bet on West Brom avoiding defeat.
Yeah, I completely agree. The odds for Sheffield United, remember, only 2 victories this season, are too low to back them, even if they are playing against West Brom, who are conceding too many goals at this stage of the season. So probably we'll see goals in this relegation battle one. Probably we won't see many goals in the next one. We have Wolves Arsenal. We know how Wolves struggle to score, and they lost again in the weekend. They were beaten by Crystal Palace, still not scoring, no victories in the last 8 games. Only they have beaten Chelsea in the last 11 games. So the run is really awful. And now they face Arsenal. They drew against Man United, but still they are showing good signs. Only, Tom, 2 goals conceded in the last 8 games. And probably this is what is most important right now for the Gunners.
Yes, the bet I'm recommending here is on Arsenal to win to 0, which you can get odds of around 3.70 on Oddspedia currently. And Wolves have been struggling for goals for a while. Again, we always go back to it. Raul Jimenez being absent. William Jose, the new signing, is the latest striker charged with the responsibility of stepping into the vacancy created by Jimenez's absence, but they've not scored in their last 2 games, 0-0 away at Chelsea and then 1-0 away at Crystal Palace at the weekend. Arsenal, meanwhile, unbeaten in 7 league games, and they're now getting into this run of fixtures that we've said are going to really test them. Won impressively away at Southampton, drew 0-0 at home to Man United, so looking much more solid, as you say, conceding very few goals. So on the one hand, we've got a team who aren't scoring, on the other hand, we've got a team who aren't conceding. And I think given Arsenal's momentum, I can see them winning here without too many difficulties.
All right, a team that needs really to win is Man United if they want to continue in the title race. Now they go back to Old Trafford after that draw at the Emirates Stadium, and they face Southampton. They are in really bad form, the South English team, the Saints. They lost again in the weekend against Aston Villa, making 3 straight defeats in the Premier League. So going down and down. But Man United, I don't know if they are tired. Probably they were even overperforming with a lot of comebacks this season. They drew against at the Emirates after that defeat against Sheffield United. So of course they need to win this if they want to still have hopes of touching silverware in the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, this sort of mini slump that United now appear to be in feels like it's been coming for a while. Having to come from behind in almost every game is not a sustainable way of picking up points. And what we've seen, particularly in that home defeat against Sheffield United, but also in the draw at Arsenal, is that those shortcomings have finally caught up with them. Bruno Fernandes, who has been, the go-to man for the last year, ever since he arrived, his level has dropped, and when he's not quite on it, United aren't quite on it, they do look in real danger now of slipping out of title contention if they can't turn this around. On the other hand, Southampton are on a dreadful run of form themselves, as you said, 3 straight defeats in the league, only 1 win in the last 8 league games. I mean, they're not a bad team, Southampton, but their form is concerning. I'm going to back United to get back to winning ways. I think it'll be a bit of a slog. So one bet that I was looking at potentially was for a draw at half time and United to win at full time. You can get odds of 4.50 on that on Expedia, and I think I probably suggested this for United in the past, but they do seem to have this quite a lot in home games, right? It takes them a bit of time to get going, but they eventually get over the line because of the match winners in their team, and I think given their patchy form of late, that's the sort of performance we should perhaps anticipate here.
During the whole season, we've seen how they struggle at home. They are a way better team on the road, but they need to win this one against Southampton. Then we have Newcastle, Crystal Palace, 2 teams that were getting in danger because they were in a really bad form, getting closer to the relegation zone. But during the weekend, both won. Newcastle, they beat Everton surprisingly, I would say even shockingly, with that brace scored by Wilson. And Crystal Palace, they beat at home Wolverhampton, something that we could expect much more. And now they both meet at St. James's Park, and what the bookies think is going to happen is clearly a draw.
Yes, and I can understand why. 2 teams who have, going into the game on the back of victories, but whose recent form has been up and down, or rather just straight down in Newcastle's case. I've minded to back Newcastle here, at odds of around 2.86. That win at Everton looked like it came out of nowhere, but I watched their previous game when they lost at home to Leeds 2-1, and the second half, they really looked like they'd turned a corner. It was a much better performance, much more sort of implication, much more effort from the players, and Steve Bruce, the Newcastle manager, sort of applauded the effort they'd put in. And I think what we saw at Goodison Park was the continuity of that. Callum Wilson showing that he is, one of the best centre forwards in the league, certainly outside the top few clubs. Palace can be hard to predict. We've seen some decent performances from them in recent weeks, but we know they sometimes do let goals in. So I think with that recent momentum, I think Newcastle fans will look at this game as one they should be winning. And I think that if they can sort of pick up where they left off against Leeds and Everton, then this is a game that they should win. An
option also here is you want to back Newcastle with Asian handicap 0. We have odds 2.04. So remember, if there is a draw, you get your money back in case we see a draw. That is what is more likely, as we see in the odds. Then for Wednesday, we have Burnley, Man City. Man City at this stage of the season, they look completely unstoppable, although they struggle against Sheffield United. But now, Tom, 12 consecutive victories, that's a lot. And the Champions League is getting closer and closer in the calendar. But Turf Moor is always a difficult stadium. All the big clubs struggle there. I don't know if you see Man City dropping points here or not really.
Well, clearly, if you look at the team that Pep Guardiola put out against Sheffield United, that was the opportunity that Pep Guardiola seized to rotate his team. So we expect that the team he puts out at Burnley will be his full-strength team. John Stones, Joao Cancelo, Raheem Sterling, all the rest of them will come back in, and this will be the game that they will use to tune up for that Liverpool match at the weekend, which looks so crucial potentially in the title race. So I think we'll see, obviously Kevin De Bruyne is still missing, but I think we'll see the strongest possible team that City can put out. And although Turf Moor is a difficult place to go always, and even the big teams struggle there, City's recent record against Burnley is very good. We saw that in the reverse fixture back at the end of November, 5-0 win at the Etihad, very straightforward. And I think that whereas Burnley's sort of roughhouse approach can unsettle some of the top teams, I think the way that City play is something that they struggle to defend against. So I would expect City to win this fairly comfortably. Burnley have had some brilliant recent results, notably winning away at Liverpool and then backing that up with a win at home to Villa. But I just think the form that City are in, the fact that they were able to rest players at the weekend and still won, the fact they're building up intensity ahead of this game at Liverpool at the weekend, and then with the Champions League just behind it, I think they'll be sort of well up for this, and I think we should expect to see City at somewhere near the peak of their form. So as ever with these games, can be difficult to find value, but maybe City to win both halves. You can get odds of 2.50 on Oddspedia on that, and I just think City's form, their recent record against Burnley, the need for them to be sort of hitting their straps currently means that I can see them winning this without too much fuss.
Yeah, the odds for Man City are ridiculously low, 1.2 around, so we have to go like Asian handicap -2 for Man City to find good odds around 2.19 right now on oddspedia.com. So again, Pep Guardiola's men, they are really favorites. Not easy to find value. We can find more value in the next one if we back the Foxes winning at Craven Cottage, although the Leicester City, they lost at home against Leeds. We know that they struggle more in the King Power Stadium than on the road, but you've said it before, Tom, that without Vardy, this is another team that they can struggle, and we saw it against Bielsa's men. And Craven Cottage, even if Fulham is in the relegation zone, even if they are not winning since the 13th of November, they are still competitive. It's a team that they are urging for a victory to turn the corner, and they are coming from 2 straight draws against teams that are also in the relegation battle, like West Brom and Brighton. So we saw Liverpool struggling, we saw Chelsea, Tottenham, all these teams, Man United, all these teams suffer at Craven Cottage. Probably Leicester will suffer as well.
Yeah, I think this will be a difficult game for Leicester. And as you say, we saw in that home defeat against Leeds the extent to which Leicester missed Jamie Vardy. They remain a fantastic team, but none of their backup strikers offer the same threat that Vardy does, and I suspect that they will find goals harder to come by for as long as he is out of the team. Fulham, as you say, they're a funny team. 10 league games without a win, but they're not letting too many goals in. They've had a lot of draws during that time, and they've taken points off some of the leading teams in the division. And in particular, defensively, it's 11 league games since they conceded more than 2 goals in a game. So, even when they're dropping points, they're not letting too many goals in. So I'm minded to bet that there will be under 2 goals here. You can get odds of 2.80 on Oddspedia on that. And I just think with Leicester's goal scoring problems and the fact that Fulham have become such an obdurate team to play against, and a team who don't let many goals in. I can see this being another close game, and even if Leicester do end up coming out on top in this one, I don't think there'll be many goals in it.
Fulham won the reverse fixture, I believe, at the King Power Stadium, so it won't be easy for the Foxes. They need to keep their Champions League spot. The next game we have is Leeds United Everton. Two surprises that we saw during the weekend. We just mentioned how no one expected that defeat. For Everton against Newcastle, they were coming from a good run, I would say, but now they are 8th in the standings, so the Toffees need to react to stay closer to the European positions. But Leeds, they are coming from back-to-back victories after beating Leicester City and Newcastle. Always a tough team to predict. We always say that with Leeds United. And they are a slightly favorite actually in this game. And remember also that Leeds were able to beat Everton at Goodison Park in the reverse fixture.
Yeah, Leeds, a difficult team to predict. Sometimes brilliant and sometimes just not at it at all. Everton, I suspect, will be quite glad to be playing an away fixture, given that they've not picked up any wins in their last 3 home games. And Everton were really, really poor against Newcastle. I think a lot of people looked at that and saw them winning that relatively comfortably, and in the end, they were beaten relatively comfortably. And this does seem to be the sort of season that Everton are having. A good run of results, then a bad run of results, then a good run of results, and it looks like now they're entering into another disappointing spell of results, despite the fact that James Rodriguez is back in the team, that Dominic Calvert-Lewin is back after missing a game through injury. So, yeah, it's worrying times for Carlo Ancelotti's man. I just think Leeds, the brio they showed in that victory away at Leicester and winning away at Newcastle before, I think they'll really go into this with their tails up, and that there is an impetus on Everton to go out and pick up points here, and I think that could play into Leeds' hands. So, bet wise, maybe something like Leeds to score in both halves. You can get odds of 3.10 on that on Oddspedia. I just think, given the fluidity in their attacking play that we saw in that win at Leicester, the fact that Everton will be trying to arrest this disappointing run, I think there will be space here for Leeds to exploit, and we've seen this season that when teams give them space, they can be really devastating.
Then next game we have Villa Park, Aston Villa, West Ham. I'm very surprised to see the really high odds for the Hammers victory, 3.54, and although they lost in the weekend against Liverpool, something that can happen for sure, they were coming from 6 straight victories in all competitions. They are 5th in the standings, and Aston Villa are really favorites in this game. They beat Southampton on the road with Barkley scoring. So I don't know also if you see Aston Villa that favorite, or the odds for West Ham are appealing in your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand anyone wanting to back Aston Villa here because they're having such a good season. And you look at their recent fixtures, I mean, yes, they were beaten at Burnley, but they should never have lost that game. They could have been 3 or 4 up at half time. And apart from that, they've been picking up wins where you'd expect them to pick up wins. And apart from that Burnley defeat, the only other teams that have beaten them in the last 6 are away at Manchester United and away at Manchester City, and in both cases they were reasonably close games. But yeah, West Ham, great run of form, as you said, 6 games unbeaten in the league before that defeat at home to Liverpool. I think this will be quite a close one. Looking at potential bets, I thought maybe a draw at odds of 3.80, or maybe, given the fact that West Ham's odds are so tempting, maybe West Ham agent handicap 0. So obviously get your money back if it's a draw, and the bet pays out if West Ham win. That's probably where the value is here.
Yeah, I really like this one. West Ham Asian handicap 0, I think is a good option. Then last game we have on Wednesday is Liverpool Brighton. Liverpool really bounced back. We can say that after back-to-back victories on the road against tough teams like West Ham and Tottenham, but now they have to win at home at Anfield against a relegation or low team like Brighton. And we just remember how Liverpool dropped points against West Brom, for instance, or against Burnley, so they cannot fail again. And Brighton, they beat Spurs, so they are getting actually away from the red zone. They are not in a bad run of form. But, well, I expect a Liverpool victory here.
Yeah, I mean, Liverpool look back to their best against West Ham. I mean, particularly the second and third goals. That second goal was a masterpiece, and Mo Salah's back in the goals. And even though they still have these, scarcely believable injury problems at centre back with Nat Phillips and Jordan Henderson lining up there at London Stadium, they are now putting wins on the board again, and just in time for that home game against Man City on Sunday, which. You sort of feel they'll have to win if they want to really claw their way back into the title race. So Liverpool buoyant, but again Brighton, for the first time in quite a while, look like they're in quite a good place. Only one defeat in the last 5 in the league. They've drawn against Wolves and against Fulham. They've beaten Leeds. They've beaten Tottenham. They only lost narrowly against Manchester City, and before that at home to Arsenal. So, Brighton going quite well, and they may look at this match as a bit of a free hit. There's no expectation on them going into this. There's no pressure, so they'll try and make it as difficult for Liverpool as they can. Having said that, I just think that what we've seen from Liverpool in the last couple of matches suggests that they have got that poor run of form out of their systems. Similar to City with their trip to Burnley, Liverpool will want to go into that game at the weekend with a lot of momentum. Sadio Mane, we expect, will return for Liverpool. I expect Roberto Firmino will go back into the starting 11, having started on the bench against West Ham. So they'll be well up for this. And as ever, difficult to find value with matchups like this, but maybe something like Liverpool Asian handicap -2. You can get odds of 2.85 on that. And I mean, Brighton have looked better, but when Liverpool are on it, as they showed against Tottenham, and particularly as they showed against West Ham, there's no stopping them really. And I'm backing this run of good form to continue here.
They cannot drop points for sure if they want to continue being close to Man City. And the last game of this match day on Thursday, two of the most disappointing teams, I think, in this season in the Premier League. Tottenham, Chelsea, both in really bad form. Tottenham, in the last 9 Premier League games, only 2 victories, and Chelsea, in the last 10 games, only 3 victories, although finally we saw a blue victory, the first one for Tuchel against Burnley during the weekend, whereas the Spurs, they are missing Harry Kane, that's for sure. They lost against Brighton. The reverse fixture was, again, disappointing goalless draw. Maybe we expect the same, at White Hart Lane.
I mean, 2 teams whose recent form has been disappointing, but I think there are different trajectories at play here. Spurs feel like they're sliding. Back-to-back defeats against Liverpool and then at Brighton on Sunday evening, after 4 games without defeat, when they looked like they were turning a bit of a corner. They've lost Harry Kane, which is massive for them in so many ways. When we saw that against Brighton, without Kane there, they find it so difficult to connect defence and attack. We didn't see Son Heung-min anything like as you usually see him when he's cantering onto those inch-perfect Harry Kane through balls. So, that removes a lot of Spurs' attacking threat. Chelsea, on the other hand, we're only 2 games into Thomas Tuchel's tenure as manager, but already we're getting a sense of what he's going to try and do there. This new 3-4-2-1 system, Callum Hudson-Odoi operating as a sort of, right wing back, and very influential in both of those games. Set up the opener, Passe's Azpilicueta against Burnley. So I feel like Chelsea are going into this one with slightly more momentum, back-to-back clean sheets in their last 2 games, and I think given Spurs' difficulties, given the absence of Harry Kane, and given this sense that something is maybe very slowly beginning to take shape at Chelsea, I'm going to back Chelsea to win here and keep a clean sheet. You can get odds on Oddspedia of 4.10 or thereabouts on Chelsea winning and not letting a goal in. And I think given the fact Spurs feel like they're sliding and Chelsea feel like they're just starting to climb, I reckon that's the sort of outcome we're looking at here.
All right, I see you very optimistic with Tuchel's job. We'll see in the following weeks. Then, Tom, we have everything. Let's see your ACCA for these midweek games.
Okay, so my ACCA selection for the midweek games, I'm backing victories for Newcastle, Manchester City, Leeds and Liverpool.
And that gives us odds 10.63. If you put 10 euros, you can get more than 100 euros in Tom's ACCA. Then Tom, thank you. We have more Premier League during the weekend, so we will talk very soon. You just see how Tom is very optimistic with Chelsea. I'm not that sure, to be honest, but I also want to know your opinion. So let me know what you think in the comment section, and you will have the chance to win a £10 free bet with Novibet. Write a comment to participate in the draw. And do not forget to click on the like button if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to our channel and click on the bell to get all the notifications. Remember, you can also listen to all our videos in our podcast in any platform available. And this week we are back. We have more odds on Premier League. We are gonna analyze every single game. Bye.